So we lost a little compression on rotary, on the first rotor, dented the rotor, and obviously exploded and bent the apex seals.
Welcome to another episode of Turbo Kids Garage. Today we are going to do a very special video and talk about rotary things. So a few weeks back, Andy and I went to the Homestead track and we had a blast with the Rx7. Little background on the car. It's internally stock, pushing 430 to the wheels. We went airborne a few times. It was absolutely insane. But then suddenly, Mr. Anderson, would you like to tell us what happened on that day at the track?
So we might have had a little too much fun. Like Marty said, the motor is pretty much stock. Single turbo, Haltech, fuel, the basics. After a couple sessions of a lot of fun, we pulled back into the pits and noticed the car was idling a little funny. Felt fine the whole time on the track, but we checked the catch tank and it was filled with oil. So decided to call it quits, bring it back to the shop, and here we are sitting in the car with no engine in it. We had low compression on the first rotor, on the front rotor. Housings, everything is fine.
Terrifying.
But the apex seals did leave the chat, as they said, and we dented the front rotor. So all of that will be replaced and stronger apex seals will be installed to reinforce it.
Here's a little reference for those that don't know what a rotary engine looks like inside. This is the rotor's housing, which obviously houses the rotor. And this is our rotor. So the rotor spins inside this housing. Andy's engine has two of these. As you can see here in the little corners, we have corner seals that also take apex seals, and that is what we have blown. If you focus closely on this slit, that is where our apex seals go. And the other issue we had is that on the face of the rotor, we had a little detonation that dented the rotor. Not this specific rotor, this is just one we have at the shop. But here is the evidence. As you can see in the top of the rotor, there is a dent, and that is what Andy did. I also wanted to spin the engine here so I can show you guys how the rotor moves inside of the housing. Right here, you're going to see that is our apex seal. That is what Andy first blew. And then that is the rest of the rotor, which is around the area where we have the dent. And here we have our engine fully repaired by Rotary Works in South Florida. As you can see, Andy's engine has two rotors. This is a 13B engine, but there's also other rotary engines such as the 20B that comes with 3 rotors and the 26B that comes with 4 rotors. What I'm gonna do now is I'm going to reassemble all the exterior parts of the engine, and I'm gonna show you guys everything. And then we go back and put the engine in. installed the clutch, the turbo. I was not here, but Andy installed the lower intake manifold. Then the fuel rails, these are the primary injectors and the secondary injectors.
So as soon as we can, we'll be taking out the stock primaries and actually getting them tested, because we feel like they may have been the culprit for the front rotor to lean out and cause a detonation. I already had the secondaries installed, so I went ahead and did the primaries. The secondaries have 2000 cc ID injectors, and now the primaries have 1050 cc injectors.